Coming off my very first experience with Pokemon, being primarily Pokemon Yellow, but also a bit of Pokemon Blue and Red, I had to catch them all after all, I decided I want to keep going with the series. After asking the community, everyone told me to tackle Pokémon Crystal next, which is exactly what I did. I'll say this, the difference from Generation 1 to Generation 2 is pretty damn staggering. The improvements made to the core game as well as all the new additions make this a wonderful starting point for those looking to get into the series. The gameplay is much more refined, the time system is absolutely awesome, and overall it's just a better game because of all of the improvements made. That's not a knock against the classic first generation, it's simply that evolution has been quite kind to this series up to this particular point. Since I reviewed the original generation not too long ago, I don't want to regurgitate what I said in those games. The short version is this. Your goal is to travel the land, taking out all the various gym leaders in hope of eventually challenging the best of the best and becoming the greatest Pokemon trainer in the region. It's the exact same premise as in the previous generation of games. You use Pokemon, or pocket monsters, to do your battling for you. Each has a specific strength or weakness against other types. Water is strong against fire, ground, and rock types, whereas fire type is strong against ice, grass, or bug types. There are two new types introduced in this game, Dark and Steel, which further help to balance out the previous type grid. I should also mention that special stats are now broken down into special attack and special defense, meaning that old powerhouses such as Alakazam are no longer godly. So that's the way the game works in a nutshell. You travel the land trying to collect the best Pokemon out there so that you have a great party mix-up of types in hopes of becoming the best trainer in the world. It's fairly simple, yet incredibly complex at the same time. The purpose of this review is mainly to highlight all the new features introduced in this generation, and then to see how I felt about these different additions. To start with, item organization has been completely revamped, and I couldn't be more pleased. Your bag now has pockets, and therefore can hold many more goodies. One pocket will hold potions, antidotes, things like that, where another one will hold your TMs and HMs, and yet finally a third to hold your key items such as the bicycle and so forth. Finally, the last pocket, the fourth pocket, holds all of your Pokemon balls. I can't tell you how much better this system is compared to the first, where everything was crammed together on a single page. Crystal also has one specific addition that Gold and Silver didn't have, the ability to play as both boy and girl. Since I'm not an expert on the series, I may talk about new features that were added to this generation which may in fact be exclusive to Crystal, but I'm going to talk about them as Generation 2 improvements nonetheless. So the next big improvement is with the battle interface. Not only do you see a meter letting you know how much experience your Pokemon has left to hit their next level, but you're also informed whether or not you have captured the particular wild Pokemon you're currently fighting. It might seem like a little touch, but it's extraordinarily useful if you're trying to collect all the Pokes in the game. Pokemon can now hold items which can dramatically alter the course of battle, as you might face a trainer that has a Pokemon who is holding on to an item that will automatically heal an ailment or hit points, increase the power of their attacks, or even an item to boost their speed, making them start first. This really changes the way you play battles, because now in terms of strategy, you never know which item a Pokemon could potentially be holding. An entirely new piece of gear was added to the game called Pokegear, which stores all kinds of nifty things including the town map, a phone so you can call different people, and have them call you. This is particularly useful because one character might inform you when a rare Pokemon is within a certain area, or you might want to call Bill and ask him how many Pokes you currently have in one of your boxes, thereby never being caught off guard like what would happen in the first generation where a box is full and you can't catch any more Pokes. You can also get a radio attachment for your Pokegear, which can play a tune to increase the rate of random encounters or decrease them based on the time of day. Speaking of which, time plays a very important part in Pokemon Gold, Silver, and Crystal. When you first boot the game up, you're asked for the time and day. And even when you shut the game off, the internal battery keeps track of the time so that if you play the game in the morning in real life, it will be morning in the game as well. This is exceedingly important as certain Pokemon are only available at night. The game is broken down into 3 core times, morning, afternoon, and night, and different events will happen during different periods of time, even on select days. There might be a bug catching contest, say on Thursday, and then on another day there's a secret NPC available who sells different goodies. It's a wonderful addition to the game because it helps make the game feel more personal. Be warned though, if you hunt down an original cartridge and that time feature is not working, it means your battery is running low and there's a very good chance it will soon die. If it dies, your save game will go bye-bye. So be wise and change out the battery. It's extremely easy to do, and I've done a video on showing how to do just that. Other new features include a breeding system, which is actually quite deep. The daycare system from Generation 1 returns, but now you can put a male and female Pokemon together, and they might have an egg. One good trick is to pair a Ditto with another Pokemon so that you're always going to get an egg, or almost always. The whole system is just a bit too complex for me to explain here in terms of traits being passed down from male or female, but just know that you can spend countless hours breeding Pokemon to get the desired results. It's important to note that legendary Pokemon are genderless and won't breed regardless if a Ditto is present or not. This generation also introduced shiny Pokemon, which are typically different color variations of Pokemon you're used to seeing. You can breed these pokes as well to increase the chances of having a resulting shiny Pokemon offspring. They are exceedingly rare though, with the chances being somewhere in the region of 1 in 8,000 to catch a wild Pokemon. In my playthrough, I did not encounter a single one with the exception of the shiny Gyarados, which is part of the storyline and can't be missed. Apparently, there's also a Pokemon virus that exists in the game that is even rarer than the shiny Pokemon, and it offers double special experience each time the Pokemon battles. I didn't ever encounter this in my playthrough, however. There have also been little refinements that go quite a long way. Take for example the select button, which you can assign key items to, such as the bicycle. This makes traveling 10 times more convenient than the previous generation, as now all you have to do is press a button and bam, your bike is popped out. The same is true for HM abilities. If you see a tree that can be cut, and you've already assigned that move to a specific Pokemon, you can just press the A button to interact with the tree and presto, it would ask if you'd like to use the cut move. There are a lot more interactive elements than ever before, too, such as being able to use Headbutt to knock into specific trees, which actually hold exclusive Pokemon to catch. There are special berries and apricorns you can find, and so much more. Overall, the game feels super familiar, but radically different at the same time. While I didn't complete the Pokédex like I did in Yellow, you can certainly try, as there are 251 Pokemon to collect, which isn't completely unrealistic like the more modern games are. Be warned that much like the previous generation, choices you make during the game will limit your ability to capture certain Pokemon, meaning you have to trade with friends if you truly want to collect them all. There are also exclusive Pokemon from Red, Blue, and Yellow such as Squirtle, Mewtwo, Charmander, and Bulbasaur that cannot be caught without trading. I do have one minor complaint with Crystal though, and that's the names. I just didn't find them nearly as memorable as the pocket monsters from the first generation. Take the starters for example. Here you have Cyndaquil, Totodile, and Chikorita. Do those names roll off the tongue like Squirtle, Charmander, and Bulbasaur? Yeah, I don't think so. Not at all. And the same is true for most of the other new pokes introduced in the game. Before wrapping this already lengthy review up, there is one more element I absolutely must talk about, and that is the post-game content. In the original game, you were left to hunt down Mewtwo and then complete your Pokédex, which was fine since the whole point was to catch them all. But in the second generation, Game Freak went well beyond the Call of Duty. I don't want to spoil it for anyone that hasn't already played the game, but needless to say, once you finish the Johto region, a whole new region unlocks, which adds an additional 10 hours or so to the gameplay. Not only that, but the story continues. The secrets, locations, and story that happen within this new region are absolutely amazing, and it will be extremely hard for Game Freak to top this. Overall, Pokémon Crystal and Generation 2 in general is absolutely fantastic. It feels like the logical continuation of the first generation, and that post-game content is utterly incredible. If you have to play a Pokemon game, this is the one to play. It's an absolute classic. Next up for me is Pokemon Emerald, but after having played Crystal for over 35 hours, I'm really not sure if Emerald will be able to top this. But why don't we go and find out.